This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
All right, and welcome back. We've been off because I've been moving. And you see I have a new studio, and it's Saturday in the Park. It's more than a Saturday in the Park. It's called Saturday in Sports Talk, and it's a sports rap show. I'm your host, Ralph Williams, along with executive producer Scott Morganroth from the South Florida Tribune and Leo Haggerty from AMPTED Sports down here in Tampa, Florida. Leo, welcome to the program. Scott, welcome to the program as well. It's great to be here today. We have a lot to talk about, including the new number one pick for the WNBA. Will she make an influence? And also, don't forget today's matchup. It's Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. We're going to find out how that's going to work out. Tickets have sold out like you wouldn't believe for the new girl Paige Buger, and also for the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark game. Does the WNBA, and can they get themselves up and prominent in basketball? We'll talk about that as well, the NFL schedules, and a whole lot more right here on the Sports Wrap Show. Scott got some things to share with us about the Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays game, what I call the inner Florida game between two Florida teams within that. We'll also talk some hockey. Playoffs are going on, Stanley Cup playoffs, and a whole lot more right here on the Sports Wrap Show. It's great to be back here. We're in Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland, my new place where I moved. And I'm happy to be here, and it's very nice down here, and it's great to be here as well. All right, Scott, welcome to the program. Good morning, and it's great to have you on, our executive producer.
Great to be back on. I got my Tampa tag team partner on. Don't get any better than this, Mr. Haggerty. Mr. Leo Haggerty wrote out in Michigan. Great stuff with the Haggerty man. All right, well, of course, Leo, the worst kept secret on the planet, is I will be over at the Marlins and the Rays games over the next couple of days. So I'm looking forward to seeing a couple pitchers like Sandy Alcantara will be on the hill today. And then, of course, we got Transformation Project Cal Contral on the mound tomorrow night for the Marlins. Get into that later in the show. Great to be back on. Nice studio setup. Looking forward to doing this. And, of course, to let everybody know that my wife and I are going to Europe around June 20th. We'll be back somewhere around the 11th or so. And hey, Leo, I've never been overseas, my friend, but one of those places that we're going to is Iceland, Norway, London, Belgium, and trying to think of the fourth or fifth one really puzzled me. But no, France won't make it on this particular trip. It really won't.
All right.
But I'll end up doing that as well. Go ahead, Leo.
I'll tell you what, Scott. If you get the chance, go to Ireland. I tell you.
Actually, you know what? I think that's the other one. I think that's on that little tour where the northern exposure is, now that you brought it up.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Every shade of green you can see in the grass, every shade of green. And the people are so nice. And the weather, I like to call it Ireland rain. Like you'll get up and it's just misty, just enough to let you know it's there, but not enough to really make you mad. But I tell you what, when you order at an Irish bar food, and potatoes are included, they give you another order of potatoes. Potatoes are like an automatic appetizer. So welcome to, hey, Ralph, great that you made a successful move to Maryland. I think Mike Simsak's going to probably pay you a visit now.
Yes, he is. We talked on the phone. He's going to come down and make a visit. And so is Pensman. He's coming down here.
Hey, Leo, just so you know, what I'm going to do on next edition of Sports Wrap is I'm going to give you the list of the 5 places. I'm just so excited about this. I'm going to be writing another book on this whole experience. But Iceland is the kicker. It really is. And we're going to get 3 days up in that place. A lot of people have told me I've never been there. Bingo! Lordy, lordy, lordy. I'm getting that one over you. But I'll mention the other 4 next week on our edition of Sports Wrap. Glad to have us back on this together again. And this guy here makes the greatest move on the planet because he's in Ocean City, Maryland. My goodness, how, as they always say, was it on Good Times or is it Jefferson? We're moving on up.
Moving on up to Jefferson's. There you go.
Is that what it is?
So,
I am so happy you were out of that building because when you told me one time we're on the air and wait a second, you're hearing gunshots, I said, hey, Ralph, time to, as Snagglepuss used to say, exit stage right.
right. Yeah, exactly. No, actually, Rush, the band Rush said exit stage left. So there you go. They go left or right.
I'll see if I can find a Genius cap, Ralph. You'll have to send Candy your information, your address, and we'll see if you can use a Genius cap or leave it Pittsburgh to go up where you're at. I'll work on that. It's not like her plate isn't full with all the other stuff anyway, but really, seriously, really don't have that head on today. But got to get that reference in. No, what. Leo, so great to have you back on, man. Can't wait to get back.
Leo, thank you.
And of course, we got
you for being on the show, Leo. Leo's from Amped Up Sports, and he's on with Peter Blake and the Sports Web Show, which I didn't make this Wednesday because I hurt my back and my knee, and I had a fall on Wednesday. So, but I was able to get myself back together for Thursday night on Fire Up. And it's great to be here today for the Sports Wrap Show. Leo, tell everybody about yourself from Amped Up Sports. Go ahead, Leo Haggerty.
Hey, we're at Amped Up Sports. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram. Go to the website. Chase is rebuilding the website now. We should have it up and running. We're shooting for the beginning of June, middle of June in there when we'll have it up and running. Really excited about it. Hey, Scott, USF women's softball beat Auburn yesterday.
Really?
In the Tallahassee Regional in extra innings with a grand salami.
Cool stuff.
So
I get the releases, Leo. What I'm going to actually do is put that one up on Twitter at some point, but I'm glad that you kind of gave me the inside so I can put that thing called a star next to it. By the way, did you ever have a chance to talk to JJ about our little separation? What did he say about it?
Well, you know what, Scott, I'll be honest with you. Right now, they're still trying to figure out what to call me. And right now they're calling me the Pope for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I know. I was going to address that. Did he laugh at that, or how did he handle it?
Oh yeah, he laughed at it because I kind of made it a funny dig at him. Hey, go after those rookies. Don't go after us sizzled veterans. And
that was cool. I knew you were going to do that. So he didn't take it the wrong way, though, did he?
No.
I know with you conveying the message, he wasn't going to do it. And I got to deal with this guy later in the year when I get Miami and USF later here at Hard Rock, Leo. So yeah. I don't want to make an enemy out of him. Now, I will say this on live air. You're getting in the next book. I'm not so sure he's going to get in the next one, but he was in the first one. So no knock against my previous colleague. But you're my current. We live in the future, okay? I don't have time to live in the past. We're living in the future. You're getting in. He got in. But as long as he took it in the right way, that, we're just kind of, but I knew you'd convey the message away that two guys, did you tell them that we were teammates doing the Sports Wrap thing?
Oh, yeah. He got the Reader's Digest version. That's for sure.
Oh, that was good. What did you say about that you and I are teammates every Saturday with Mr. Williams?
Hey, watch my face now.
Yeah, that's typical JJ style. Okay, yeah. That's what I know. And yeah, I was thinking about you being a new Pope.
His head a little bit when he does that. He goes,
"Yeah, I know." As soon as the Pope was announced Leo, I said, "Oh, how?" It's not like Haggerty hasn't heard this drill before.
Kiss it soon,
Oh, I was thinking about you all week once they say we have a Pope Leo, and I got one every Saturday from 9 to 10 o'clock. And you were the first person that entered my mind. I swear, Leo, I love you, man. You're my brother from another mother, even though you're a couple of years older than I am. What we did in Tampa was unbelievable stuff. and what we're going to do going forward will be unbelievable stuff. But I knew if there's a guy that will relay my messages where they need to go, leave it to Leo. There you go. There's a new, hey Ralph, you know what? I want you to go ahead and write this down. Leave it to Leo.
Yeah, don't leave it to
Leave it
me.
to Leo.
Leave it to
There you
Leo
go.
to go. Ralph, let's get it started. What we
Let's
talking?
do it. Hey, you know, but I had to do this here, Leo, because we've been off for a couple weeks, and I had to get caught up with all this business. All right, go ahead. Good morning, fellas.
It's great to be back here on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. There we go. The
Fun.
triple header of Ralph Williams. All right. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning is our studio sponsor for the new Studio 10. 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today. Don't forget the summer's coming. Air conditioning. I tell you what, you're going to need it. You better get it going and going fast. Call them today for all of your air conditioning repairs. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, this show is brought to you by Scott Morganroth's book, Lessons from the Microphone. Tuning into Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. Scott's 45 years in the media business, and he put out a great book here. Go and get it. Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and also from his publisher as well. So don't forget to go out and get Scott's book. It's some great reading. 40 already in it, and you need some, some different things. Just take a look at Scott's book, and Scott's planning on having another book coming up as he's going to start at the end of the year. He's putting out a book about Europe. He's going on a nice trip to Europe. Wish you safe travels there, Scott, on that trip. And if you do stop in Italy, say hello to my friend Chef Boyardee. So, just want to.
Oh, that's great. You know what? There's progress. No, I won't get Italy, but you know what I am going to do, Leo? The places I don't get around to, my wife and I made a 2-year commitment to Europe is what we've done. I'll mention the cities, but part of that 2-year commitment is going to include Paris, Italy, like Ralph just mentioned, and Spain, and whatever else happens after that is anybody's guess. But I want to get this first one done, and I'm glad that Ralph and you guys are embracing this whole stuff. He said post-1945 Europe is a disaster. Probably true, Bill, but I'm going on a cruise, so hopefully I'll see the better parts of it, not afterwards. But it's good to get all this heads-up stuff as well. Hey, Bill, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. South Florida Tribune, love to have you on. Ralph is on our show, and, of course, we also bring this as well. Bill, great to have you. Chris Cole as well. This shows you that this platform is growing, and it's going to definitely continue to get better. Leo and I work diligently to make sure that this show is as good as we can. You got 2 veterans with a rookie like him, and Ralph is a quick study. He's doing a really good job. Of course, he has the 2 of us. It doesn't hurt with Leo's contacts and my experience, and don't sell Leo short. He's got a boatload of experience as well. Good stuff. All right. God bless you, Ralph. Still think that guy deserves a genius capital with that new studio, though.
And we're also on the Huddle Sports Network, and coming up in June, we will be on the Oracle Talk Radio Network. All my shows that are on social media will be on there as well. And don't forget to check out my radio shows. 8 a.m. this morning, the Ralph Williams, Tony Moreno show was just on. We had a great time. Tony's been busy with his mayoral campaign, so I was by myself this week. And then also don't forget at 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree, 1250 a.m., The Answer, 92.5 on the FM dial. We are on every Saturday as well. And okay, guys, let's get started here. WNBA, new #1 pick, Paige Boogers, and she plays tonight. Tickets are selling like hotcakes, or have sold out, actually. And then Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. We'll start with you, Scott.
Well, Paige Beckers, by the way. I guarantee you'll get that name right when Leo and I get done with you at the end of the show. Great young lady. I only hope for a Paige that she's able to stay healthy through an entire WNBA season. Bear in mind, she just came off college anyways, and wasn't long ago that she had some injury issues. So anything she does is going to certainly be under the microscope, knowing she was the #1 pick in the draft. Yeah, she's going to sell tickets. The biggest thing about the WNBA that's important is, can this league make any money? And that's the biggest thing about them. We know we're going to put people, they're going to put people in stands, because all of a sudden they're developing rivalries with everybody getting the #1 pick year in and year out, like the Caitlin Clarks and all that. But can the league make any money? Certainly, I don't know what the Wings are going to look like at the end of the year. I have no expectations at the moment. Gate attraction, but I'll tell you one thing, Leo, I don't know about you. I was impressed with this young lady's body of work. to me, when we saw her over at the NCAA Women's Final Four, which USF and Brian Seacrest did a masterful job hosting the event for both of us to be able to get a lot accomplished. I'll turn it over to you, Leo.
You know what, guys? I'm going to be brutally honest here. Paige Buchers is a talent, definitely.
Right.
But the WNBA needs to sit down with their top 10 or 20 stars and say, look, this ship is attached to Caitlin Clark. You want to keep abusing her? We are going to sink. And we are going to sink faster than the Bismarck went down in World War II.
Right.
They need to embrace the fact that a white, straight woman is now the face of the WNBA. Whether you like it or not, that's what's selling tickets. That's what's driving eyeballs to the TV. The fact that now you got another white woman coming out as the #1 pick, it's not sitting well with those people. But guess what? A high tide rises all boats. The fact that they're sitting there and trying to basically punish this person, and if they do this to Paige Bucher, people are going to turn this off. Maybe the last time, guys, you walked into a bar and a WNBA game would be on and people wouldn't go, turn that crap off.
Right.
Caitlin
Yeah, now
Clark
we're tuning in.
must watch TV. That problem is she's the only one. Nobody cares about the rest. The WNBA needs to put that front and center and convince their players that, hey, this is where we're going. If you don't like it, get out. Because if not, we're all going to sink.
So let me ask. Well, hold on, Ralph. Leo brings up a lot of good points in this. So you know what, Leo? I'm going to piggyback off you with a +1. You ready? Number one, do you want another Brittany Griner situation where they have to, because you know where I'm going with this, okay? But let me go ahead while it's fresh in my head, albeit all the caffeine in my system, which is a beautiful thing, especially when I come on this show. But think about it. Do you want another Brittany Griner situation where somebody goes to Russia to try to make more money, or do you want to be able to make this league profitable, let alone with the big three coming in? No, you don't want to go back to Russia anymore. We all saw how the Brittany Griner disaster turned out. So you're right. There's what you have. You got Caitlin Clark, adorable, done a great job last year. And now you're bringing a young blonde, by the way. And I press the word blonde because a lot of people are turned on with them. You know, I mean, I like looking at blonde, brunettes. They're all beautiful. I got the best girl on the planet. She happens to be brunette anyway. But that's a subjective opinion regardless. But you think about it, they're gradually building. The one thing that is looming here, Ralph, and I'll turn it over to you in a moment, is they cannot commit league problems by considering a lockout or strike of any kind, or that league is done, period. Their margin of error is so nil, it's ridiculous. So yeah, you better embrace Paige, you better embrace Caitlin, and the other one should definitely gravitate. But the one thing I'm going to mention, Leo, and I'm going to hammer this point home, is don't underestimate the nature of Brittany Griner. That's all I'm saying. You don't want to, because here's the thing. I don't talk politics on air, and I won't, but the president in office will be less tolerant of that situation than the last one was, where you have more of a diplomatic approach, and the unpredictability factor in the Oval Office, you don't know. And I'm not turning this into a political show. I want to preface that fact, Leo and Ralph, but you have to make sure you handle things in-house. We're talking about a president, okay, that doesn't think that teams should be changing names. And you know, to his credit, he's 100% right on this one. And that'll be on a future edition of the Sports Exchange on Wednesday night. But I have a lot of other stuff I have to get to. So I guess to make a long story short in this point is, Leo, you nailed it on a lot of different fronts. And I'll even take it a step further, Leo. I'll take us back to Tampa. Jackie Eisenhower, who obviously we both know well, she was really critical of that situation with Brittany Griner, is what she was. And you don't want to see these people put in a very delicate situation where it becomes ugly. And Jackie, we know what a legend she is in Tampa, Leo.
Yeah. Hey, Ralph, let me tie this up in a bow. The WNBA wants to get to a place where the NBA is. And here's the place they want to get to, where they pay their players enough that they only have to worry about playing in the WNBA. Just like you said, Scott, don't have to go overseas to supplement an income. And that starts with Caitlin Clark. It continues with Paige Bucher. And you know what? Stop beating them up. Start playing hard, but don't make it personal. And that's what it is, because if it gets personal again, that league's going to fold. Period. End of story.
Well, you know what? No better bow than the one you just created. I'm ready to move on to the next topic. Great stuff, Leo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. My take on this is that I think that other players need to step up. You know, in the NFL, you have a lot of players that step up and make the NFL great. In order to make the WNBA great, other players have to step up as well. I know we have the Brittany Griners, we have the Caitlin Clarks, the Angel Reeses, and now we have this Paige Booger. So what I'm saying is that the other players need to step up, and the league needs to get to tell them, look, in order for this league to survive, everybody has to be involved and has to step up and become and put butts in the seats.
Well, Bill Whitaker's right. Everything is political at its core. Bill is right on target. It really is. So, yeah, put that comment up there. I think it's really a good comment to post here so our YouTube people and everybody can see it all over the world.
Exactly.
So please post that comment. It's political at its core. I want to make sure all the comments are applicable. What Leo and you and I talking about. But Bill Whitaker's right on target with that comment. Go ahead. There you go.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, there you go. He said it right on it. Everything's political. So, I mean, you know, it's politics all across the sports board. So, I mean, you know, it's, but the WNBA right now has got some issues they need to fix, or else they're going to lose fans. And they need to gain fans more than lose in order for them to survive. And it's that simple. So, I mean, you know, it's not a hard concept. And the league, like I said, needs to go to these other players and say, hey, look, you need to step up and you need to, to get involved with the league more and help us survive, help us be successful. Because if in a business, if the employees or whatever are successful and you're successful, if you can get your employees to be successful. So
you're always strong as the weakest link. You're exactly right, Ralph.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where the weakest link is at, is right there on that front. Okay, we're going to move on here to our next topic, and our next topic is brought to you by Mike Dotson Realty in Ocean City, Maryland. Call Mike today. Yeah, I got to tell you what, Mike is the guy for real estate. If you're planning on moving here and you want any kind of real estate, call Mike today. He will set you up with the best real estate there is. 410 area code 596-1681. Just a summer rental, maybe you want, or you want a summer home, or you want to live in here in Ocean City, Maryland. Give him a call. That number again, 410-596-1681. I tell you what, I still talk to Mike. Mike and I are friends. How many real estate people do you know after the closing, they don't want anything else to do with you? Not Mike. Mike and I talk all the time. He's helped me out big time. So that's the type of customer service that Mike Dotson gives you down here in Ocean City, Maryland.
Well, here, you're going to go to that reference, and I'm going to say this real quickly and tie it to a show, Leo, that I did this week. I took a woman by the name of Barbara Feller. Get this. Never been on a podcast before. Acknowledge me on social media, Leo. Get this, okay? Follows me on Instagram and Twitter. And she's in my networking group anyways. And I coached her like we're doing with Ralph. She was fantastic, this woman. She was absolutely first time. Yeah, I'm telling you, but the thing is some of these realtors are really personable that you really want to acknowledge them like you're doing with yours. And Barbara, I'll be always partial to her because I took something and got her to relax. She started the show maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later and prepped her for 20. And that woman, Leo, was absolutely fantastic. Maybe what I'll do, Leo, if you ever get time, brother, is I'll go ahead and text you that interview if you want so you can visualize this woman. She was phenomenal. But I'm glad that you, again, we'll say 9 million times that you made a great fresh start in Ocean City and you found somebody like this. It's great stuff. I'm looking to seeing more of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it makes all real estate agents look really good, too, when you got somebody that has customer service. He's been doing it for 20 years. And he also has rental properties, too, if you want to rent or if you want to come down here for a short-term rental. So, I mean, he has that kind of thing going on. But anyway,
sure, let's get in a great place like Ocean City, Maryland. You got water. It's not so bad, right?
That's right. That's right. Water, boardwalk. I can fish. I can do whatever, enjoy that ocean air. And I don't have the stress of the building I was living. So there you go.
Great stuff.
Excuse me. Anyway, let's get back to the topics at hand here. And we're going to talk about the NFL schedules. All right. We'll start with you, Leo. Tampa, what's it look like for their schedule, and what do you think about their schedule?
Well, it's kind of a good and a bad. The good is they have their bye week right dead center in the middle. They got 8 before and 9 after. What you don't want is a bye week 4, 5, or 6, because now you're looking at double digits the rest of the way, and that's not good.
That's right.
They open up on the road at Atlanta, and then they go their second game to Houston. And again, I am so happy that the NFL realizes that you don't want to play a home game in September in Florida because you're going to get lightninged out. So you know what? They put the first 2 on the road, perfect. Then they come home, and they've got a meat grinder right in the middle. They go Eagles, they go 49ers, they got Detroit. They got to go to Los Angeles for a game there. They got to go to Seattle, right? They go Philadelphia, then Seattle, then back, and they get Detroit. I think it's maybe a 10-win team, maybe, because Scott, you and Ralph know there's going to be 2 games that you win where the other team beats itself, but there's also going to be 2 games you lose that you beat yourself. I just don't think we're going to see that 14, 15, 16 win team, because my God, that schedule is brutal for everybody. And you know what? They're playing 17 games. The first 4 guys, that's preseason. Just get through 2 and 2 because they're not ready to play, because nobody's practicing. They can't afford to. No coach wants to stand up in front of a microphone after a preseason game, and the first question is, why'd your quarterback get hurt in a meaningless game? Why'd your wide receiver? So they're not playing these guys. They don't mind if it happens during the regular season when the bullets are for real, but they don't want it in an exhibition game.
Oh, absolutely. I heard Ray Rhodes one time when he was coaching with Philly. I heard him say, "Oh, it's important that we win these preseason games for our season to get started." He was kind of like acting like it was the Super Bowl, but preseason games are starting to become kind of useless a little bit with this league anymore. And I wish they would have kept it at 4 instead of knocking it down to 3 or 2 or whatever they plan on doing down the road. All right, Scott, your thoughts, Jacksonville, and you cover the Miami Dolphins as well.
I'll tell you right now, Ralph, I'm not even going there. I'm going to talk about the NFL schedule release in its entirety and mention specific teams. Is that fair enough? I mean,
sure.
Number one, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we go to 18 games. Item number 1. Item number 2, how the Miami Dolphins are featured on national TV 4 or 5 times is beyond anybody's wildest imagination, because they haven't won a playoff game since 2000. Number 2, one of the things I like about it is the Lions are playing the Packers for the opener at Lambeau, and Green Bay has not hosted a home game on opening week in like 7 or 8 years, which is good.
Right.
And number 2, it's good that the Lions will be able to play the Packers on Thanksgiving, because many years ago, Leo and I can relate to this. That's what you had a lot of. And then also, when I look at the Dallas Cowboys, Fox did not even want them a couple of times. So they're hoping that CBS will take a couple of their games because they know they're laughable. So let's divide the hay between Tony Romo and whoever else you want on the number 1 team, to me, on Fox. So the Dallas Cowboys are being, and they're on Thursday night, by the way. One of them happens to be the Detroit Lions. So as far as I'm concerned, what I really think of the NFL schedule is it did not even make it as a topic on Inside the Pigskin. You know why? I wanted Candy and you to have more fun with it on Fire Up. And boy, I'll take the dunce cap off. I know. I left something out there for you people on Fire Up. I did. I won't take the dunce cap we're going to put in the mail for it. Or no, I meant the genius cap. Okay, pardon me. Okay, that's what happens when I get wound up. I'm ready to cover sport against live like Leo does 9 million times overall. Anyway, but I had to leave you guys something for Fire Up because it didn't even make Inside the Pigskin. Inside the Pigskin, we get some hot, down and dirty topics, man. We do. Hey, Leo, you ever heard of Ben Troop? Ben Troop, former Florida Gator. He's one of you guys. You haven't heard of him?
Okay, yeah.
He's on the Tuesday night show.
Oh,
Besides, yeah, I got Chrissy Jones.
Yeah, I like his opinion, Scott. I do. I like how he really brings the opinion as a football player to the show, and I like that.
Christy Jones, another My American, got him going. That's a heck of a show. Heck, HECK, Leo, HECK. Just remember, okay. But the bottom line is, it did not even make the schedule release. Is all fine and dandy for fans. I don't care, because you know what? When everybody critiques this thing 9 million times over, I don't care. Just play the games. That's it. Talk to me later. I got more important stuff to talk about.
Yeah,
I really do. There's enough. So here's the thing. I love doing hockey, Leo. I do. And we're looking about 2 or 3 more weeks before we do it. But NFL and MLB really give you the best storylines on a consistent basis all year. They really do. Why do you think I have designated shows for football and baseball? Hockey's great. Mine being NASCAR, NBA. You know. Well, yeah, I know where your bread and butter is, right, Leo? I have more interest publicizing the USF, Miami, Florida, FSU, FAU from time to time. Nothing against scheduling, but I'm glad it made it to your show. It would never make it on mine.
Yeah, and the way the NFL just spreads it out, instead of just one day, they want that 24-hour news cycle, and they want it 5 times. Just tell me the schedule. Don't leak game after game, because now, and the worst thing is, Scott, you're exactly right. The media jumps on that hook right away, swallows that hook, and goes, oh, God, look at this, look at this, look at this.
Right.
Come on, guys, come up with something to talk about. There's plenty of stuff happening. And, hey, we haven't even talked about the PGA, and that's happening this weekend, too. Go ahead, Ralph, let her rip.
All right, yeah, also, the Steelers play the Jets in Ireland to start the season off. We go up against our former quarterback, Justin Fields. We'll see where this goes for the start of the season for the Steelers. And I'm interested to see Dallas, and I'm going to be watching Dallas a lot now because they have George Pickens. So I'm interested to see how he works out in Dallas. That's going to be a very interesting thing right there to take a look at, especially if you live in Pittsburgh or, you follow the Steelers, and I cover the Steelers. And now I'm going to be Mike Sisak is coming on my show on Tuesday on the Sports Corner show at 4:00. And we're going to talk about the Ravens, the Commanders, and the Steelers. So there you are. He covers it for Amped Up Sports. He'll be on with us on Tuesday. Because last Tuesday I didn't have the studio set up yet.
Yeah, great mentions of Leo. I like what he did. Great mentions of Fields and Pickens. Those are going to be intriguing storylines for sure as the year goes on. So I like those. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but that's intriguing. But I don't get into it enough to matter. But it's certainly worth talking about. Okay, I'll turn back to you. And Bill,
and also too, Russell Wilson with the Giants. I'm interested to see what he's going to do. You know what I mean? Can he help the Giants get back into order, save Brian DeBoe's job, or what's going to happen there? So we'll see. You know what I mean? It's going to be an interesting season. That's all I can say. All right, Scott, you have something you want to talk about the Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays also with Leo. So go ahead, you guys take it.
So, Leo, I have a question for you. Why did they schedule a 3-game series here in Miami when they're normally 2-2? Do you think the stadium situation has a lot to do with it this time, where you have the 2-2 with Steinbrenner Field? And then I'll talk about my weekend ahead, because this is a very unique weekend where they're doing 3. And obviously, Tropicana Field, I don't know how far it is from being fixed yet or not. But I was wondering, because when I go down there, or is it just one of those things where they're going to go, are they going to be up there 3 as well? Or I don't know how that worked. I haven't looked at the race schedule.
Scott, I really don't know, but they are really starting to get concerned with the schedule, because they had a couple rain delays last time. And it was the first rain delay they've ever had in Tampa.
Right.
But again, it's going to be really difficult to play baseball in August and September in Tampa in an outdoor stadium. And you know what, Scott? How about them opening the roof last night in Miami? That's the first in a long time, isn't it?
Not really. They've been doing it a lot more, actually. I think the Marlins are 6-9 this year when the roof has actually been open. And I've only seen it, Leo, a few times as well. I think it's pretty interesting that they can do both ways. But remember one thing, though, Leo, the Marlins had to deal with this stuff when they were at Joe Robbie Stadium for a while, which is why they moved to that roof in Miami. Again, I'll talk about it all day long. But the only problem was they put that stadium in the wrong area. So let's talk about this weekend. Miami got the best of the Rays last night, 9-4. Max Mayer picks up the win. He improves to 3-4. And Taj Bradley dropped to 3 up, 3 down. Today, 4:10, we got Sandy Alcantara on the hill against Drew Rasmussen. Drew goes into the game at 1-4, 3.38 ERA, and Sandy Alcantara coming off the Cy Young Award, and then of course Tommy John surgery, 2-5, 8.10. When people tune into Monday night's edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk, I'm going to have a guy by the name of Dan Alvarez on here who will shed some light on that situation. But I'm looking forward to the immediate availability with skipper Clayton McCullough to see what he talks about with Sandy, and I'll have more information on next week's edition of Sports Wrap. And then, of course, tomorrow we're going to have Shane Baez on the mound. There's a guy, I think, with a 9.02 earned run average, or 5.02. I don't want to bump him up 4 points when I can't read my lousy penmanship, against Cal Quantrill, who's got a 7.0. So we're looking at 2 games with transformation projects where we're trying to, well, not so much with Sandy, but I'm talking about these other guys is what I'm talking about. So it'll be interesting to see how the pitching plays out. The Marlins, obviously, Peter Bendix, I do believe they're trending in the right direction, even though they made some unpopular moves with the fan base. But that Peter Bendix has a good reputation. So this one's going to be kind of neat. It really will, to see what I'm able to look at when you have 2 teams that are in the Sunshine State in a transitional phase. One's rebuilding and the other one is unfortunately dealing with a situation attributed to the element. So I'm really curious. And I should point out, because I know Ralph, we have other topics to get to, but I was really curious about what your thoughts were about with that 3-game series. And that'll be one of the things I'm going to try to dig into as well. So I have 2 games, Saturday and Sunday. I usually use Saturday for my manager, and then I go on Sunday to try to clean up what we have. But I'll tell you one thing, when I went to the A's and the Marlins series before, we had a lot of great content that was out there, and that's how we're going to approach our coverage. And one other thing I should talk about, Game 7, Toronto Maple Leafs, Florida Panthers, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, winner take all. I'll tell you, this one to me, Leo, is an absolute toss-up, because Joe Wool was 3-1, and elimination games improved to 4-1, and the Panthers were humble. He was chased for 5 goals the other night, and all of a sudden he walks into Sunrise over in Toronto, and all of a sudden he walks in there, and now you have Game 7 in Toronto. Oh my goodness, you can't have a much better setup than that, Leo. What do you think about that one?
Well, you know what, Scott? I'm going to throw this out at you.
Sure.
The last 3 games, the losing team has been shut out.
Really?
Yeah. The team that scores first is going to have such a leg up in Toronto. It's not going to be funny, because 1-0 may win that game, because 1-0 won the game last night. Then you had the better. But, the first goal is going to be monstrous in that game. Absolutely monstrous.
Well, here, you want me to piggyback off what you said? I'll be more than happy to do that right now. Here, Leo, I'll just pull this off from my sources here, and here's what we're going to talk about. Let's talk about a stat that sometimes you wonder, Leo, whether stats are relevant. And here's what I'm going to say about this, because this one is about as timely as you can get. But the Florida Panthers, get this, okay, everybody? Under Paul Maurice, the Panthers are 26-0 when holding a lead at the end of the first or second period in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Think about it. And they didn't have a lead in either of those periods, right?
No.
So what happened? They ended up losing. So everything you just said, Leo, to me, it is a prelude for what we're going to see tomorrow night out in Toronto. 26-0. So if Toronto strikes first blood, Florida's in trouble.
Look out. Yeah.
So I can't build this thing up any more than I can, other than the fact that all you did for the millionth time, Haggerty, is you set me up yet again. Great stuff, Leo.
Up, guy. You're the closer.
So here's the thing. You know what Ralph just learned here on the show? He takes a break, gives you and I our own segment, right, Ralph? Because this guy is this smart. He's learning. And what happens? We have a blast with it, right?
That's right.
He takes a break and he gets to learn. But meanwhile, 26-0 with that particular stat tied into it. So the stage is set. We'll see whether or not that stat carries a little bit of weight tomorrow night in Toronto, 7:30 And you know who was doing that game last night? My good old buddy, Kenny Albert. I love Kenny to the highest. We've been good friends for a long time, and it was nice of him to do a Motor City Manuel show. I've always loved Kenny because you know what? This guy is truly a man of his word. You know where I met him? Over at Amalie Arena. I really did. I've had so many great memories at that place, Amalie Arena, that I tell you, I have Tampa in my blood. I have green in my blood, and I'm wearing green, albeit not USF shirt. I have to pull out different shirts when I come on this. I love USF. I'll promote it, but no, I just wanted to address the Tampa Miami series because we'll be down there obviously this weekend, and I'll have a lot more hay to play with by the end of the weekend. And I love working with the Marlins. They've been really great to me so far, and hopefully the relationship continues. But thus far, it's been really good. So the stage is set, Tampa and Miami. And for whatever it's worth, once upon a time, there was the Tampa Tarpons versus the other Miami Marlins in the Florida State League. Back to Ralph.
Hey, Ralph.
Well, you know what? I think the Florida Panthers. Go ahead, Leo.
I need for you to do me a favor. I
What's
want
that?
this time. Scott and I get 1 minute each to talk about this. Okay?
Sure.
But I want you to put a thumb up when it's time to stop. Scott, Pete Rose now being eligible. We've got to talk about this. The quote that Rob Manfred gave is that now that Pete is dead, he's no longer a threat to the integrity of the game. What a bunch of malarkey that is.
Yeah, I know.
5 years ago, they're going to make this guy eligible after he's dead because they want to punish him with that. The fact that they're doing this, what's changed? What's come out? Why should this be any different? It is such a black eye on Major League Baseball. It's not even funny. Scott, I'm done. Your minute.
I like that segment. There you go, Ralph. Number one, I don't even call a minute
Well,
on that.
I tell you what, I agree with you on this, Leo, because I wanted Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. But why would you do it when he's dead? You should have did it when he was alive. And I agree with you on that.
You got a hearing problem? This is Leo and me again. The guy trying to give you a tip. You're the middleman. Kidding with you.
Sorry.
I'm kidding with you. But my minute doesn't start there, Leo. It starts now. Number one, though, I'll go ahead and shave the fat off that. Worst kept secret on the planet. I knew he was going to do it. But here's the thing that was so good about it. At least he took the other people that are deceased off of it, too. He got Shoeless Joe Jackson. Doesn't necessarily mean that the modern fire is going to vote him in yet. Maybe a year or two down the road. Not a lot can get in right away. People have to go ahead and digest this thing to see where it's at. I'll probably address this in a few weeks, but I'm glad that you brought it up here to give me an idea to think about it when 186 baseball talk resumes after Memorial Day, because I already have the topic set. Worst kept secret on the planet. We all knew it was going to happen, period. Am I up to my minute or a little bit under?
You're still under. You got 25 seconds.
Oh, that's all I'm taking, 25 seconds? Really? Seriously? Really? Well,
Yeah.
3 seconds. Oh, my goodness.
So you may want to go to those segments called Less Than a Minute. And, you know.
No, it's called the Leo and Scott Minute. There you go. Leo's.
There you go. Hey, got new segments here when you have the three of us on. Yeah, that's the worst kept secret on the planet. Doesn't mean it can necessarily happen right away. Really doesn't. Because a lot of people have to digest whether they want him in. And when you talk about whether or not these older voters say, yeah, all right, so he's got an avenue to get it. Doesn't mean you're going to go get the avenue to do it.
Correct. You know, and if somebody votes for him, I think should take away their voting right. Because there's what's changed? If you didn't want to vote for him then, why are you going to vote for him now? Well, he's dead and he can't appreciate it. Well, bad optic. Ralph, back to you.
Well, here, I'll say one word. Loophole, end of story.
All right, there you go. And we got to pay a couple bills here. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning is our studio sponsor here at the new Studio 10 in Berlin, Maryland. 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Also, don't forget to visit Keystone Coachworks. Are you in a wheelchair like I am? Do you need a special vehicle to get around like I did? Well, guess who I called? Keystone Coachworks, 412-831-5900. Call them today. Keystone Coachworks. Give them a call. Ask for Dawn. Tell Dawn Ralph Williams sent you. They're right on Route 88 in Bethel Park section of Pittsburgh. And also don't forget to call Robin Campbell Insurance, Farmers, Bristol West, 412-366-3399. 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell Insurance. He has all and any type of insurance that you need. Car, auto, home, whatever you need. Any kind of insurance. Robin will come to your house. How many agents do that? They only do emails and stuff, but not Robin. Robin's hands-on. He'll come right to your house. He's been doing it for a long time. And Robin Campbell Insurance. All right. Also, don't forget to pick up Scott's book, Lessons from the Microphone, and enduring the Tuning and Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. Get it at Barnes & Noble, also on Amazon, like I did. I got it off of Amazon or Barnes & Noble, and also by his publisher. Scott's coming out with a book about his trip to Europe, and also coming up with a second part to this book as well. All right, guys.
Well, let's go to the chat room real quick. Bill Whitaker has a great question, Leo. So maybe we'll take 30 seconds to a minute to comment on that.
Let me get that up.
Yeah, get it up there. You know what? There's nothing wrong with coming up with stuff on the fly, especially if it's pertinent to what we're talking about, Leo. And this is a classic example. You know what? I'll take this segment and I'm turning it over to you, Ralph. Okay, let's stay with you put your thumbs up, and this one's Leo and I. And if you want to, of course, we know you have a Pittsburgh guy on, so we know you're going to say something. But
let me answer Bill real quick. September. Bros passed in September. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, here's the thing. Clemens and Bonds. Posthumously, we'll see if they get in there, if the voters loosen things up before it goes to that point. I don't like the idea of Bonds going in there because we know what he did. Pete Rose bet on the game, but he didn't cheat the game numerically. There'll be that big debate you have. I love Roger. He's a really intimidating pitcher when he was out there, and he instilled a fear in hitters like no other. Did he need to do that? No. But when you were on the mound, would you want to be on the other end of his intimidation tactics? No, any more than you want to be with Nolan Ryan. Barry Bonds was a 4-tool player. He had speed and he had power, but we all know what changed when obviously Balco came into the picture. So I don't want to talk about posthumously. I want to see where we end up going at the end of this process. But that's an excellent question, though, Bill. It really is. I want to go back to you, though, Leo, so that you can fill in what I just mentioned, and then we'll turn over to Ralph, because you know there's a Pittsburgh vested interest in this one.
I think if Rose or Shoeless Joe Jackson gets voted in, the dam is broke. Anybody can get in now. Because here's the problem I have, guys. When they say performance-enhancing drugs, what does that actually mean? Does it help you hit a baseball? No. It helps you recover. That's the big thing. These guys can still play. They can pitch. They can hit. And you know what? When you look at what's happening with baseball, the fact that they did this, and they said now that anybody who passes away now becomes eligible. That's like telling Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, you're going to have to die. And that's not good. That's not a good optic.
No, it isn't. But you know what it's sending, though, the message? That you're banned from the game. Hold on, because you bring up an interesting. You're banned from the game. It's not all it says is never say never that he gets in. Didn't say how he's going to get in, right? Let me ask you another hypothetical, Leo. I'm really curious. That's an excellent point you brought up. It's one thing to lose a game pretty, or would you rather win ugly? Think about it from a standpoint there. But in the end, if you win ugly, you get in the Hall of Fame. Have you ever been to Cooperstown, Leo?
It's on my bucket list, though.
Well, I guarantee you that once you get, because I've been there a few times, once you get to Cooperstown, I have put a lot of money into that place with hydrostone statues and plaques and all that business. Once you get to Cooperstown, I have a feeling you might just slightly adjust your opinion on it, but I understand where you're at the moment. Remember one thing about Cooperstown, for those that you haven't been there, it's a museum of history is what it is, but in a glorified manner of the game of baseball. That doesn't mean that when you go in the exhibit that they don't address the steroid era. It's just a matter of whether or not they're getting a plaque inside there instead. Because I can tell you right now, Don Mattingly's not in it. He belongs in there more than anybody. And you have a lot of guys that belong in there. But so it's just a conclusion, Leo, of what they've done. The history of baseball is in Cooperstown. And once you get there, but I know where you're coming from. Everything you make is 100% on target. But once you've been there, I have a feeling you'll see things a little bit differently than at the current moment. That's all I'm saying.
It's kind of like going to the JFK Museum in Dallas. Once you go through that, if you think Oswald shot him, you're going to think again.
I can't believe you even mentioned that. Really? Seriously, really? I was at that. And you know what? After I went through that observatory when I was covering the Lions and the Dallas Cowboys game on Monday Night Football when the Cowboys were Super Bowl champs 9 million lifetimes ago. I wonder how many of these people will remember that anyway. I'll tell you, I had a different opinion about Oswald Killer. I thought Ruby was the one that did it when I looked at the tape and I looked it over. But that could be another topic. Hey, Ralph, one of these things we're going to do maybe if Leo's ever interested, because it's just the three of us anyhow, we might have to go ahead and come up with a non-sports topic because him and I could do this. What do you think about that idea? I'll go ahead and give him a non-sports topic. But let me finish.
Show out of that, guys, because hey, we only got 8 minutes left.
Well, we'll figure it out. Yeah, but you got to remember one thing, though, Leo. We're coming up with topics on the fly. Sometimes your best shows are the ones that you actually come up with on the fly, not the ones you prep for. And you're the one who brought this whole thing up, not me. I did it great.
Acapella. Ralph, take it away, my friend.
There you go. That's worth it. And if you're hashtagging, this gives this guy more things to do anyway. So go ahead, Dr. Ralph.
All right, let's talk about let's get into my town. We'll start with you, Scott. Go ahead.
I pretty much let mine out of the bag with these two, between the Marlins and the Rays as well as the Panthers. So I could go out there and go a little bit further, but I'm going to go ahead and defer since I felt that was an incorporated segment that Leo and I would have an awful lot of things to talk about. The only thing that really in my town is that I'll say is that it's that good of a topic because it's on Fire Up. I've decided to go ahead and incorporate it on the Wednesday Night Sports Exchange. And I think that's something that now Leo and I will have more fun with Sports Wrap goes along. I'm going to defer so we can make up the time that Leo is giving me the hints to. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, Leo, go with your town.
A plethora of events happening in Tampa. USF softball, they're in the winner's bracket. They play at 2 o'clock today. The Rays, they're down in Miami, as Scott has brought out so well. We've got the Rowdies. They're going to be playing. We got the Tampa Bay Sun, the women's team. They're in second place, and they're going to take on the top Carolina Ascent this weekend. So we're looking at a whole bunch of events here in Tampa Bay, and you know what, guys, it's really a great time because if you're not at one of the events, you can sit at the TV. You can watch a Game 7 with Denver and OKC. You can watch a Game 7 with Toronto and Florida Panthers. You can sit and watch the PGA. You can watch the Champions Tour. There's so much going on. And you know what, guys? Just a great weekend in sports here in Tampa.
All right, question for you. Now that you brought up the Rowdies, I'm really curious because I read about this a little bit earlier. Maybe you could add a little bit of light to it. What does the Rowdies look like, their future at Al Lang Stadium? What are they looking to do with the Al Lang Stadium site? I enjoyed covering the Cardinals there during the Florida State League, and I love that area. It's a great place to watch a ball game.
They're good for staying there, but they're not having a good season. 1-1-6. Not a good.
Yeah, but what about attendance and interest there? Is there mutual interest, Leo, on the part of Al Lang to keep them there right now, or are they looking to?
Yes. Yeah.
They're in. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, they play there, and then the women's team, the Sun, plays at Riverfront Stadium right there down on the Hillsborough.
Oh, I didn't know about Riverfront Stadium in Hillsborough. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, that's brand new. Really nice. It's soccer-only stadium.
No kidding. Really, you have to show me that when I come back home.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. And Black Rock, of course. We'll do it again. But we have a show invested in that one again. Live. All right, go ahead. Back to Ralph.
All right. Leo, or I'm sorry. Yeah, I already got to you guys on my town. It's my turn. My town here in Ocean City, we have a big rock festival going on. Started this morning around 9 o'clock. And big bands, Def Leppard, Alice Cooper, and Brett Michaels from Poison, who's already been here. I've seen some things on Facebook about him at the beach, and many more. It's going to be for 2 days here. Big, huge festival going on. We're hoping the weather. Oh, by the way, if you're coming down for the festival, Motley Crue will not be performing because Vince Neil has some health issues, and also Alice in Chains will not be performing. So that's what's going on here. But in Pittsburgh, where I'm originally from, and I still follow and do things with, the Steelers are looking at wide receiver from New Orleans Saints. Rumor has it that the trade will be made this weekend or has been made to bring in that New Orleans wide receiver, and to replace George Pickens. We've already signed a couple guys, and now we're still waiting to see what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. You know, and they still don't have a worthy quarterback. Although some people are saying that especially Pensman Sports, that they think they can, that the Steelers can win with Mason Rudolph. Maybe they can. I don't know. You know, drafting Will Howard was a good draft pick. I want to say that I said that the Steelers were going to take Caleb Johnson, and they did. I said they were going to take Jack Sawyer, and they did. The only thing I was wrong about was I thought they were going to take Shedeur Sanders in the first round. They had an opportunity, and they passed it up. They have a good first-round pick, the Steelers do. I think they did a very good job this year of drafting for need and what they needed to do and get into the team to address the lines of scrimmage. I'm also happy about I'm not happy about Derek Shelton getting fired. He became the fall guy in this thing with the Pirates. But Don Kelly is not doing a bad job. And Ben Sherrington, to cover his butt, decided to go out and hire some coaches. He brought back Gene Lamont, who's been with the Detroit Tigers. Scott knows about Gene Lamont. He was the bench coach under Jim Leland. And so, you know, Gene Lamont's back as an advisor to Don Kelly, who is our new manager at this time.
Yeah,
Also,
don't sell Don Kelly short either. This guy's a good manager.
I'm not,
No, let me finish because you bring up a great point. He was a pretty good utility player with the Tigers, so he's got utility players. And Gene Lamont, I've interviewed him before. Gene's one of the most knowledgeable baseball people on the planet. So while the Derek Shelton may be a questionable call on the surface, Don Kelly, this is an opportunity for him to take it on an interim base, see what he can do. And with Gene Lamont in his ear, and those guys have a working relationship, there might be a little hope in Pittsburgh with the Pirates with these hires. I'm glad you brought them up because that allowed me to give you a little bit more insight to this. Go ahead. Just want to incorporate that.
Right. Yeah, I know you know about Gene Lamont and Don Kelly. So I mean, that's why I
listen,
said,
I've interviewed Gene
Lamont.
Gene Lamont's a great baseball guy. I had time, you know, Leo, what it's like to go on spring training. You can pick guys up all day long and you interview them, and the best interviews are the ones that are not planned, right, Leo?
Absolutely. Right. The best interviews are a cappella.
Bingo.
That's it. There you go. But anyway, as I mentioned before, also the Penguins fired their coach, mediocre Mike Sullivan. And Sullivan got picked up is now with the New York Rangers. Sullivan, on the other hand, he was with the Penguins for 10 years, one of the longest tenured coaches we've had. And also, I hope, and I'm glad that coach in Denver at that university there that has done such great work there is staying there. I don't want him with the Penguins. So what I want the Penguins to do is go find somebody that has experience in coaching hockey and get him in here. Find somebody that's retired and pay him and bring him in here and get him in here.
Well, the guy you're referring to, his name is,
so Crosby and Malkin can get a final.
Yeah, but you know, the guy you're referring to, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. That'll be on this edition of the Sports Exchange on Thursday. His name is David Charles. So it wasn't the right opportunity for him to go out there and make the jump. So don't sell him short. The bottom line is, I think the Penguins need more of a proven guy to get whatever you have left out of these two guys' final year. But great point. Glad you brought it up. Hi, Cyberewski. What's going on? Glad you made it on today. Whatever.
Yeah, he's a little late getting on there today, but we'll go from there.
That doesn't matter. I would say better late than never. At least he's paying attention.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There you go. Cyberewski also contributed to my broadcast of why I moved on here. Part of the Ralph's Opinion.
Well, let me tell you, him and Joshua Dorr will re-listen to these anyways. They're definitely followers of the show. Even though they don't come out right away, they'll re-listen to these shows later. It's not what you get immediately; it's what you get after the residual effect. So that's okay. Cyberewski, Joshua Dorr, they'll listen to it. Sometimes Joshua has a young family, anyways. It doesn't matter. You know, he's raising. He has a new infant. Now he's on. What's going on? He's paying attention. See, these guys are on.
Okay, guys, it's time to wrap it up here for the Sports Wrap. And until next Saturday, for Leo Haggerty, Scott Morganroth, executive producer, and myself, Ralph Williams, your host. Until next Saturday, please be safe, and we'll talk to you again. Thank you.
Take care, guys.